Ah, there we go. Hello and welcome to the what used to be a channel staple. Not necessarily a staple because we didn't do it that often. We did it once, meaning that we did it 4 times, I think, or 3. Reading weird fan fiction, specifically Harry Potter fan fiction. Last and only time around, we did what was it? Fucking My Immortal? Yes, I remember that. Today, this was actually sent to me by my girlfriend. We are reading one called Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles. And I do have to have an eye over there because I watched a cooking documentary today, and it included fermentation and yeast and beer. And so I activated my inner Slav. It just sort of, it grew inside of me. And, yeah, some of you already know what I'm making over there in that pot that's boiling. It's not boiling anymore, but it's still sort of on the deactivated but hot stove. The water was boiling not very long ago. And my entire room smells of burned bread, but that is supposed to be you know, how this works. Right here, I did stock up on a little bit of alcohol. I am on a diet, so I'm not gonna fucking consume the fuck out of beer tonight. But I am as the biggest, not the biggest beer snob in the world, but I'm a bit of a snob. And this is not nearly enough to fill the glass, which I knew beforehand. It is not aesthetic. This is not an aesthetic stream. I have Baltic Lager. It should be at 10 degrees. Which is the optimal temperature to drink this beverage. Also, the manufacturer tells me, because I actually don't know. I just pretend to know. Yeah. What is up with Politikman? Politikman got into a fight with Tarek Fatah on Twitter. I saw. That was pretty cool, actually. Yeah. No, Politikman, he was into politics in a way where he was very into sort of data and truth and statistics and numbers and the way things actually really are. And that's not really a good space to be at when you're a politics YouTuber. You need to pander to one side and be a complete moron until eventually you lose all sight of your original and really quite reasonable message to become further like the things that the people who give you the most money want you to be. So that's why I try not to do politics as much myself also, because I am not corruptible, and I think if my livelihood depended on being corruptible, I wouldn't do so well. Yeah, anyway, let's get to the fun part, that why we're actually here, and read Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles. And this apparently is exactly what it sounds like. So, cheers, my dudes. Oh boy, this is actually super fruity. Holy shit, this is nice. Damn. I'm usually a big fan of this company. But I hadn't tried this particular one before, and it's really it's fresh, it's fruity. You have this like the bitterness from the hops. And it's still smooth. Holy shit, this is good. Okay. This is not a beer review channel. Okay. Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles by Proud Housewife. Chapter 1. Author's Note. Hello friends, my name is Grace Ann. I'm new to this whole fanfiction thing, but recently I've encountered a problem that I believe this is the solution to. My little ones have been asking to read the Harry Potter books, and of course I'm happy for them to be reading. I don't want them turning into witches. So I thought So I thought, why not make some slight changes to these books so these books are family friendly? And then I thought, why not share this with all the other mummies who are facing the same problems? So ta-da, here it is. I am so excited to share this with all of you. So without further ado, I will actually check the super chats first, because you know how Neo, like my number one money guy / sugar daddy, is just a complete idiot. He's already donated $40 before the stream even started. And that is a thing that happened. And I just want to acknowledge that this happened. Actually, he donated $20, and I told him, Neo, why are you doing this? This is not how it works. And he donated another $20 and said, fuck you, you're not my dad. So, this is why I have the best fans. So yeah, here's the thing. This just is starting out. This woman, she clearly read Harry Potter. She didn't turn into a witch. So, God damn it! Thank you, Neo, for the another $20 that you just donated. I very much appreciate this. Please stop. I do not want you to go bankrupt because of me. Someone else pick up the slack or some shit. Jesus Christ. Yes. So she didn't turn to a witch. Why would she be afraid that her children would turn to witches? That's something I don't quite entirely understand. But let's start. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Harry Potter who lived under the stairs in a house on Privet Drive with his aunt and uncle. He was a good, obedient boy who did all his chores. But he felt that there was something missing in his life. Yeah. A bit spirit of rebellion, maybe. Some cocaine. Possibly dabbling with LSD. Something big and special, that's exactly what I said. But he could not quite name it. He stayed up every night and wished for his special something. For this special something. Then one day there was a knock at his door and everything changed. It was the priest and he molested him. Oh no, wait, that's the wrong fanfiction. Answer the door, Harry! His Aunt Petunia, a career woman, barked from her... What do you mean a career woman? Barked from her armchair where she sat with her feet up. This doesn't sound like a career woman to me. Unless you're talking about a career as a housewife. Which I don't think that technically constitutes a career. She had short, curly blonde hair and never wore any makeup. Uncle Vernon nodded sheepishly from the kitchen and put a tray of moist, chocolatey brownies in the oven. So basically, here's the thing, right? That already, Petunia is the self-insert character of this proud housewife person. Because apparently she's a career woman, but she's also a proud housewife. Her career is being a housewife. She commands everyone around. And her husband, who, like, Vernon was a very interesting character in the Harry Potter books. Because he was a fucking dick. And she made him into a complete cucked wimp. So this is starting off fantastic. Shouldn't you be doing that? Harry thought. But he was a very obedient young boy, so he answered the door right away. So you have to teach your children that, you know, they may have doubts over the abuse and slavery that their parents subject them to, but they should still obey because that's how you do it. He turned the brass metal door knob. Brass is a metal. You don't need... You can just say brass doorknob. You don't need to say brass metal. That's completely redundant. And pulled open the heavy wooden door. I've been waiting for this since the last stream. Well, here you go. My tongue is not. Need to loosen my tongue a little bit with this. Didn't have time for this because I was being a Slav. On the porch was standing a huge muscular man with a big manly beard. This is the one that she cucks him with. And he was dressed in a plaid red shirt, blue jeans, and sturdy leather boots. At least she uses the Oxford comma. His chest was covered in a thick, unruly carpet of coarse brown hair. He wore a necklace that looked to Harry like a lowercase t. I'm sorry, what? Is this world just devoid of religion? And this child has never seen a cross before? Literally, you go to the most remote Pacific island, they've seen a fucking cross before. Just looking at Harry feel... What? Just looking at Harry feel happy, peaceful somehow. But he couldn't say why. Okay, I'm gonna try to do an accent. Good morning, kiddo! I don't even remember Hagrid's accent, so I'm just gonna go with this bullshit Irish accent. Good morning, kiddo! The man greeted amiably and smiled at Harry. There was no reason to put a semicolon there. You could just... Okay. He had the peaceful, friendly sort of face you just knew you could trust. My name is Hagrid. Do you want to go see my ice cream truck? Could I speak to your mummy or daddy? Oh, Jesus Christ. I see how this was written by an American because she writes mummy with O, as opposed to British people who would write mummy with a U. Okay, I don't have a mummy or daddy, Harry replied sadly, and looked at his raggedy old shoes that were blue. Perhaps that was why he felt so lonely, he thought, not for the first time. Well, maybe also it's because fucking the self-insert character's a fucking cunt. Maybe that was what he was missing. A mummy and daddy. But no, that was not quite right. Sometimes the interpunction here is a bit confusing. Also, yes, the oak staff with the 20 Danish crowns is that, isn't it? Oh, nice, a Dane. I like Denmark. I really like Denmark. Where was I? Yes. I'm so sorry to hear that, Hagrid uttered ironically, sarcastically. You can speak with me auntie and me uncle, Harry retorted politely, and blinked his big, blue, childlike eyes. Bullshit! Harry had green eyes, as far as I recall. What do you want? Aunt Petunia peered out the door with her narrow, suspicious eyes, and she was wearing a baggy, unflattering pantsuit. Oh, apparently this is not the self-insert character. The self-insert character would never wear something that is unflattering. Hello, neighbor! I was wondering if you have been saved. You are not a neighbor of hers. Hagrid exclaimed brightly and tipped his wide-brimmed straw cowboy hat. What the fuck? Aunt Petunia laughed a gravelly laugh and leaned forward on her sturdy, practical boots. Saved? Don't tell me you are one of those Christians. Oh! Fucking now I understand. She's not the self-insert character, but she's the caricature of she's the anti-Mary Sue. She's the career woman, and women shouldn't be career women. They should be obedient to their husbands. And this career woman that does nothing but sit in the house all day is just a massive cunt and has her husband cucked instead of obeying her husband like she should. Okay, this explains a lot more. Also, one of those Christians literally wears this set. Harry did not know what that word meant because literally they had just kept him under the fucking stairs for years, apparently. He'd never even been outside. The sun was just a concept that was known to him through literature, and none of it was actual religious literature. It was all books of evil science. He knew everything about the hydrogen inside the sun, but he'd never actually felt its rays upon his skin. Is not what this says, but it should say that. But Hagrid's smile was the most peaceful smile he had ever seen. It made Harry feel warm and happy inside. Just seeing the glowing, radiant grin, super redundant, on the kind, friendly stranger's face, once again super redundant. He wondered why Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon did not smile like that. Well, Uncle Vernon, I think, has not smiled in years because his happiness has been amputated. Why are you drinking beer on this Christian YouTube channel? Did you know? Fuck, I might be butchering this. At some point, there was, I think, a split in the Orthodox Church. Because part of the Orthodox Church wanted to ban the drinking of alcohol. And the monks said, no, fuck you, we want our beer. Beer is a very Christian beverage. Yes, I am, Hagrid replied kindly. Are you? This is a Christian, is this in reference to. Aunt Petunia laughed again and stuck her pointy, sharp nose up in the air. We are too smart for that. Haven't you read Dawkins? God is dead. Dawkins proved that. Would you like us to educate you on the Dawkins? That is not what Dawkins said. I have The God Delusion is right there on the bookshelf between my copy of Dan Simmons' Hyerian and Dmitry Glukovsky's Metro 2033. So, suckle my knuckle. What is a Christian? Harry queried innocently and scuffed his shoe on the shaggy yellow carpet, which had not been vacuumed in quite some time. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Christians are people who want to be good, Hagrid explained wisely. You really like little boys? And crouched down so he was on eye level with Harry. We want to go to heaven after we die. Do you know what heaven is, Harry? Harry shook his head, and his big eyes were wide and curious. Oh, she just puts a semicolon every time before every and, which is just not the correct way of using that. Heaven is a beautiful place where we can be with God. Aunt Petunia smacked her hands over Harry's young ears, apparently having teleported behind him with the powers of her atheist witchcraft, and her voice was sickly sweet when she said, Thank you very much for your concern, sir, but it does not need your religion. Here's science and socialism and birthdays. What the fuck? Haven't you heard of evolution? I have a very good textbook on evolution that I could give you on it, if you would like to learn things. I said that a bit more suggestively than maybe I should have. Hagrid laughed wisely. Evolution is a fairy tale. You don't really believe that, do you? Yes, I do, Aunt Petunia screeched. Well, then prove it. Well, you know. Aunt Petunia could only stare at him, and her big mouth hung open dumbly. That is... I don't like the word dumb, but using dumb as an adverb in the context of dumbly is the dumbliest thing I've ever read. Here she thought she was so educated and always demanded that Christians prove what they believed in, but she couldn't even prove her own religion. It was then that Harry knew who the smart one was. I'm glad that debate that could have made for an entirely interesting story arc has been immediately settled from the fucking get-go. Tell me how to get to this heaven place, Harry cried wistfully, clasping his hands together. Well, Harry, what you need to do is kill yourself. Sometimes the wisdom of little ones is really amazing. We think we grown-ups know it all. Wait, hold up, what? But then God speaks through the mouths of the little ones and shows us that we are all mortals struggling along the path of life. And then there's a period, and then it just says, humility. Like this is some bullshit ad by Don Draper. You see, what you have to do is Christianity. We think we grown-ups know it all. But then God speaks through the mouths of the little ones and shows us how we are all mortals struggling along the path of life. Humility. I don't do a very good Don Draper, by the way. All you have to do is be saved. Do you want to be saved? I do, Harry squealed, jumping up and down. Didn't she place her hands over his ears? Then pray the sinner's prayer. Aunt Petunia tried to stop him, but she was powerless against Harry's pure, innocent, holy energy. Soon, Harry had said the prayer. Hagrid beamed happily. "You're a Christian now, Harry," Hagrid cried proudly. "Apostasy carries the death sentence." Harry smiled, but then interrogated. "But how..." Wait, and now he's Irish. "But how do I be a Christian? I don't know how." Hagrid grinned widely. "There is only one place to learn that. Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles." "Beast is giving me," please say. Harry squealed slowly and in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable. Harry squealed. Was that uncomfortable enough for you? Thank you for the $10 though. Yeah, I know about Temple OS. Author's note. So, what do you all think? Hold on. I have to read the author's note in the appropriate accent. So, what do y'all think? I may not be a professional writer. No shit. But I think being given the talent to pull this off in service of a greater mission equals closed brackets. Blessings, grace in. That's chapter 1 of 14. Let's move on. Chapter 2, New Horizons. Author's note. Hello, friends. I have been getting so many lovely, thankful messages from mommies everywhere, and I just want to say thank you for all your encouragement. However, I also have been getting several messages that say my story is bad because Harry Potter is not just about witches. It's also about friendship and kindness and bravery. Friends, this is exactly what I have been saying. Harry Potter has so many good things about it, but it still has witchcraft, so my children cannot read it. But that is why I am writing this, so they can all have the adventure and good morals of the Harry Potter books without all the bad stuff that is bogging it down, y'all. I mean, Matthew 3:12, am I right? So without further ado, chapter 2. Jesus Christ. I already want to die more than I did with my immortal. Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles? Harry queried and clasped his hands. Just at hearing the name, he felt such a sense of inner peace. He wanted to have more of that peace. It's an addiction. And he wanted to learn how to be a good Christian. He was starting to think that peace and being a good Christian were in fact the same thing. I want to go there. Hagrid beamed widely. He had been praying so hard to save a soul today. He'd been fucking praying so hard, motherfucker! And he was so happy to have saved the soul of such a sweet, earnest little one. Oh boy. The poor boy being raised by two parents who were not Christian. And I think the bigger problem is that they literally kept him isolated from the entire world. And who both went to work and left him with a babysitter all day long. It was a good thing Hagrid had got there in time. 5 years down the road, Harry might have been a fornicating, drug-addicted evolutionist. Fuck yeah. Don't be silly, Harry, Aunt Petunia commanded, and wrung her long, bony hands. Come back inside. I will read to you about the evolution from the Dawkins. You do not need that silly religion. It's like you can just tell him to stay. You do realize that if Hagrid just takes the boy, you can call the police because someone just kidnapped the child that has been entrusted to your care, right? You are aware that this is maybe this is a world where apparently people don't know what Christians are, so potentially the law for that is different also. Harry scrunched up his innocent little face and thought very hard. Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon were as close to parents as he had, and this was the only home he knew. Could he really leave? But he was saved now. He had prayed the sinner's prayer. He could not stay here, not anymore. See, with your liberal use of colons, he could have put one there. Not with what he knew now. Suddenly, he knew what he had to do. Oh boy. Now, Aunt Petunia, he uttered calmly with childlike wisdom, evolution is not real, and I'm going to Hogwarts. No, no, Harry, Aunt Petunia screeched desperately. I have an idea. You can have a second birthday today. You like birthdays, right? This is not how birthdays work, Petunia. Jesus Christ. Birthdays are not of God, Harry verbalized knowingly, even though nobody had ever told him this, and looked at his aunt with an innocent wisdom. You tried to corrupt me? No, this is Petunia. You tried to corrupt me, but it did not work. But I forgive you, Aunt Petunia, because of Luke. Because of Luke 23:42. This is just the moment he said the sinner's prayer, the Bible was just downloaded into his brain. That's how it fucking works. Hagrid was amazed once again at the wisdom of the little ones. He did not know if he could forgive someone who had hurt him as much as this woman had hurt little Harry. How do you know? Deny him the truth? Who would be so cruel? But Harry did not even think twice about it. He forgave, just like that, because he was a child and had no real conception of what consequences actually are. Truly, Hagrid gained a new understanding of Matthew 19:14 that day. Oh, that's... Do not leave, Harry! Dudley wailed childishly. I must, Harry said and stepped over the threshold. Goodbye, Dursleys. I hope you are saved too one day. And with that, he and Hagrid began to walk down Private Drive. Not Privet Drive, which is a completely different thing. This is Private Drive. Because this is America. Yeah. How will we get to this school, Hagrid? Harry queried curiously. We will pray, Hagrid retorted knowledgeably. How do we do that? Harry solicited inquisitively. You literally know the Bible by heart now, motherfucker. Watch, Hagrid said, and then got down on his knees on the road. Yes, that's a motion you will perform a lot at the Hogwarts School for Catholic Boys. He motioned for Harry to get down on his knees too. Hagrid raised his hands to the heavens and cried out in a deep, thunderous voice, Dear Lord, take us to Hogwarts! Harry felt himself being whisked away, and in a moment he was sitting in the cool, damp grass outside a humongous, beautiful castle. He looked in awe at the tall towers and the grey stones. What a beautiful place. Okay. How is this not witchcraft? You say an incantation, and then a thing happens that breaks the law of physics. A tall, thin man with a long, pointed beard and big, wire spectacles stood in front of Harry. He was wearing a brown tweed suit and a nice matching hat. His shoes were made of leather and polished until they shone. He had a smile much like Hagrid's smile. Jesus fuck. So peaceful. Harry just knew that he could trust him. Oh boy. A lovely, kindly young woman with flowing blonde hair and a pleasant, heart-shaped face stood beside this holy man. Hello there, little one, the man greeted amicably. I am Reverend Albus Dumbledore, and this is my wife, Minerva. Okay, so they made McGonagall much younger. And also they made her Dumbledore's wife, even though Dumbledore has the big gay. Welcome to the Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles. Author's note, blessings. Let's go to the chapter 3. Chapter 3. Dinner time. Author's note. Hello, y'all. I've struggled with a lot about
whether or not to keep going with this story, but with a lot of praying, my husband and I have decided that it is the right thing to do. We want our little ones to have a good Christian literature to read, and in this modern world, sometimes they can be hard to come by. So I will just have to make do. Equals closed bracket.
Pleased to meet you, Reverend Dumbledore.
No, that's Petunia.
Pleased to meet you, Reverend Dumbledore,
Harry replied enthusiastically and got to his feet.
This sure is a beautiful place you have here.
The Reverend beamed.
Why, thank you, little one.
His voice had a distinctive southern twang. Fuck you, cunt! Southern twang to it that made Harry feel so safe and welcome. Why? He knew in that moment that the Reverend was a man of God. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to give Dumbledore like a southern US accent, because I don't know if you know this, but Harry Potter is not set in the fucking colonies. And since I'm not very good at replicating any of the many accents present in the south of England, I'll just stick with sort of a particularly posh version of sort of Oxford sort of received pronunciation for him, because fuck you. He knew in that moment that the Reverend was a man of God. This poor little one was being raised in a terrible situation, Hagrid declared concernedly. He was watched by a babysitter every second of the day. Well, there was no babysitter there then. His own Sam is part of her perfect little package, like the big house, the fancy career, the speedy car. So I just fucking abducted him, because we Christians are above the law. Dumbledore shook his head sadly.
Too bad no one told her. Parenting should be about the children, not the parents. That is why it is called parenting.
That does not make sense. Because it sounds like parenting would be about the parents, because if parenting were about the children, it would be called childrenting. Hagrid nodded wisely. Dumbledore turned to Harry and announced authoritatively.
Now you can start your classes tomorrow morning. Today you can get settled in your dormitory. But first, why don't you eat dinner with my family and me?
Hold the phone, what?
Really?
Harry gasped excitedly.
I've never had a family dinner before.
They literally actually just completely kept him under the fucking stairwell, didn't they? Boy, oh boy.
Why don't you come with us?
Wait, no.
Why don't you come with us, then?
Dumbledore cried kindly, and then got down on his knees. Everyone else did the same, raising his large, massive, manly hands up to the heavens. Dumbledore bellowed in a voice even louder than Hagrid's have been.
Lord, please take us to the kitchen.
You lazy fucks. You could just walk to the kitchen. You think God has better things to do, maybe, than teleport you to the fucking kitchen just because you wanted to live in a castle? There's a lot of babies in Africa that need to get malaria. Suddenly, they all found themselves in a tasteful, decorated kitchen. There you could have used the adverb. Would have fucking...
Wow!
Harry shouted in awe. That sounded like one of those lolly things that someone once sent me. He was still getting used to the power of prayer. Yeah. Sometimes we take the wonderful things the Lord gives us for granted, like, teleportation. And it takes a newcomer to the fold for us to understand just how blessed we are.
That was amazing!
Yeah, when you get to the point where you have God teleport you to the kitchen, that's the point where you no longer appreciate the fact that God teleports you places if you ask him to. Hagrid smiled knowingly. God is an amazing guy.
He sure is.
No, I have to give her a fucking Scottish accent.
He sure is,
the Reverend's wife chuckled. She's trans, by the way, before getting down to her knees and raising her own hands upward.
Dear Lord,
Please set the table with a sky blue cloth and the Sunday dishes. And please give us biscuits, fried golden brown and gravy, creamy mashed potatoes, my great aunt Eleanor's corn casserole, corn on the cob slathered with butter, and for dessert, some chocolate raspberry cookies. Okay, this is getting... I think you're getting a bit... Once again, there are children in Africa that need to get malaria. Why don't you cook yourself? Just to have the audacity to ask God to give you a specific meal instead of doing the ora et labora and doing it yourself. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. Y'all motherfuckers need Jesus. All of these things appeared on the table exactly as the Reverend's wife had asked for them. Masterfully prepared and delicious smelling. Yeah, you would figure that God, who apparently spends all his time fucking cooking, would be pretty good as a chef. Harry's mouth dropped open. Truly, this woman was a real Proverbs 9:11 wife.
Hermione,
The Reverend summoned loudly.
dinner time.
Immediately, and with cheerful obedience, an 11-year-old girl in a pretty pink dress with a matching bow came... Bow? No, this is a bow. She has a bow now. She's a fucking hunting bow with which she kills bison. Came running down the stairs. She ran over to her father and gave him the winning smile that daughters have. Dumbledore is now Hermione's father. Fuck. How do I distinguish her from Harry? Because I can't give her... No.
Welcome home, Daddy.
She smiled and then turned to his wife.
Can I help you? Can I help at all with dinner, Mummy?
No, God made dinner. It's all prepared. Thanks be to God. Her mother retorted gracefully. Hermione nodded knowingly.
Hermione, I would like you to meet Harry Potter, our newest student at Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles.
Dumbledore introduced magnanimously.
Harry, I would like you to meet Hermione Granger, my beloved daughter.
Pleased to meet you.
Hermione responded sweetly with unshy grin. Harry could barely respond. This was the most beautiful young woman, nay girl, he had ever come across. So different from all the girls in public school. No, you have not been to public school. Because if you had been to public school, you would know what a fucking Christian is. Who were focused on trying to be like the career women they saw on Sex and the City. This little one was the picture of innocence and godliness. And now you have sexualized an 11-year-old girl. Thank you very much, good Christian fanfiction.
Now,
Dumbledore pronounced genially.
Let's eat.
As the holy men, women... Oh, wait, I lost my fucking line. As the holy men, women, and little ones dug into the delicious manna the Lord had granted them, this is not what manna looks like. Also, you're in a fucking castle, not the desert. The conversation amongst the adults turned to darker topics. Harry listened intently, and he did not understand it, but he was very interesting. Interesting. He was very interesting. Dark days are coming, Harry pronounced gravely around a mouthful of casserole. Evil forces are coming into this world, and the little ones at Hogwarts may be our last resort. Psalm 9:11, Dumbledore referenced solemnly, and the others around the table nodded knowingly. Hogwarts might be the last hope for the forces of good in this world. Author's note. Blessings! Wow, let's go to fucking chapter 4. Holy shit, this beer is so good. Wow. Wow, wow, wee, wow. Chapter 4. Dangerous Days Ahead. Author's note.
Hello, y'all. I apologize for being gone for so long. My little ones came down with pneumonia, so of course my life's been nothing but doctor's appointments, chicken soup, and that's on top of all the other work Mama has to do. I'd nearly forgotten about this little story of mine when I sat down to catch up my email, and lo and behold, there were dozens of messages from this lovely site. Now, of course, there was a handful of messages that made me very sad, but for every review posted by an evolutionist with a being spotted, there were 3 lovely private messages from other mamas out there thanking me for the gods doing the gods' work. Wow. I know when the Lord's telling me something, so here's another chapter for all you mamas out there and all you non-believers being added along. Let's see if you're unconverted by the time this story's over.
Okay. I love the audacity that this woman has, that she actually thinks that God is commanding you to write a fucking Harry Potter fanfiction. When the delicious filling dinner had ended, Harry wiped some last tasty cookie crumbs from the sides of his mouth, because apparently Harry eats cookies like this. He was very full and very tired, because there had been roofies in the food, and now the Catholic part of this begins. Discovering the truth with a capital T, being saved and coming to Hogwarts, it had certainly been a long day for this little one.
You look like you could use a good night's sleep, the Reverend's wife commented daintily. How would you like to move into your dormitory?
I would love to,
Harry cried cheerfully. He was so excited to become a student here, and he was so grateful for the opportunities the Lord had given him. Sometimes people who have done without are the most grateful. What?
Hermione, why don't you show our newest student to the dormitory?
Dumbledore suggested wisely. Hold up, aren't these, separated by gender? What is this fucking... Do you not respect the gender roles?
I'd love to, Daddy.
Hermione replied obediently with an innocent, girlish smile, and got to her feet and smoothed out the skirt of her becoming pink frock. All of that was massively inappropriate in my head.
Should I clean the kitchen first?
Don't worry about it. God will take care of that.
I can take care of that tonight,
the Reverend's wife answered indulgently, and she was already beginning to clear the elegant porcelain dishes. Why don't you have God do it, though?
Thank you, Mummy,
Hermione shouted gratefully when she walked over to Harry.
Would you please come with me?
Harry blushed shyly and got to his feet. His aunt had never told him how to talk to pretty girls. She always said that pretty girls were shallow and not very smart, and that a real woman put her career first and didn't care about her looks. But it only took one look at this godly young girl to realize just how wrong that was. A woman taking pride in her appearance is honoring the Lord, because after all, it is the Lord who gave her a pretty face and nice hair. What if she looks like an old shoe, though? Taking care of that is important. Harry got the feeling that Hermione was as beautiful on the inside as she was on the outside. Stop it, for fuck's sake. The two little ones stepped out into the brisk, chilly night. For a few minutes they were both silent. Harry did not think it was possible for this sweet, demure girl to be as nervous as he was. But going by the silence, perhaps she was a little nervous herself. After a few minutes, Hermione welcomed shyly.
Welcome to Hogwarts. It is a wonderful place, and we really are so glad to have you here.
Harry's face reddened as they crossed an expansive, flowery field that is on the roof. They were going in the direction of a cluster of imposing, stone, academic-looking buildings.
Thank you,
he muttered happily.
It is beautiful, and it feels very holy.
As in, there's a lot of holes here. Oh, fucking shit. Now I'm doing it also.
It is.
Hermione commented enthusiastically, and her chocolate-coloured, carefully curled tresses were bouncing along with her steps.
My father is a very godly man, and to spread the word of the Lord is his greatest dream. Truly that is a noble dream,
Harry responded gravelly with wisdom beyond his few years. They walked for a few more minutes in silence. Eventually, they reached the end of the lovely green meadow. That is a huge fucking meadow.
The boys' dormitory is this way.
Hermione exposited knowingly, and with the innocent, casual affection so often found in children, she grabbed Harry's hand as she led him around the edifice of classrooms. Harry was so nervous he could not think of anything to say. His brain fumbled for the perfect Christian thing to say, but look, here's what you do. You just rape her, and then she has to marry you. It's really that simple. I mean, it says so in the Bible. You know the Bible by heart. It's literally is that simple. Jesus Christ. Before he could even manage a word, Hermione came to a stop in front of a tall stone tower.
This is the boys' dormitory,
the devout young woman explained kindly, and she gestured to the heavy oak door beside them.
I would show you inside, but I would hate to cause a scandal.
Yes, that is. Yes.
I understand,
Harry declared graciously. Too many young men these days pressure young women into things undesired and forbidden. It is the mark of a true old-fashioned gentleman to respect the fact that every young woman is another man's future wife. Yes, her rapist's future wife. And we all know that it would be a dreadful, terrible sin to bring another man's wife into intimacy. Why does modern culture suddenly treat that as okay, simply because he does not have her yet? Man's laws may permit it, but the laws of the Lord are not bound by time. Did you know that in medieval times, very often, it was actually completely accepted to have sex before marriage, among peasants, mind you, not among the nobility, and many people married well into their 20s because marriage was not a political weapon, and really most of the peasants married out of love and not out of politics. Fine piece of information that I know because my girlfriend told me, because my girlfriend is a historian. And also future rocket engineer. Where was I? Hermione moved to open the imposing large door, but she struggled with the knob. It was quite a heavy door, but Harry was a good, devout Christian now. He would not have a young, godly girl struggling to open a door which he was perfectly capable of opening himself. Of course. With the simple faith so often seen in little ones, Harry got down on his knees and lifted his hand skyward and shouted prayerfully,
Dear Lord, please open these doors and allow me to enter my new home.
Maybe, here's a tip, right? If you have a school, like a religious school for children, maybe, and this just a suggestion, you could possibly do this. You don't have to do this, but maybe put fucking doors in front of the dormitories that a child can open, you dumb motherfucker. Harry was about to step inside when Hermione grabbed his arms. He blushed once more.
Wait, Harry,
Hermione uttered quickly.
There's something you should know. What is it?
Harry queried questioningly.
My father says the dark times are coming.
Yeah, we were there. Hermione spoke worriedly.
There is a man named Voldemort who wants to destroy all that we stand for. He's pushing an agenda in Congress which will stop us from practicing our faith freely. But that is what our founding fathers built this nation for,
Harry cried indignantly.
The freedom of religion.
Hold on. Which founding fathers of the United Kingdom do you mean exactly? Because I do not recall any. Do you mean, like, maybe George? One of the Georges? Maybe one of the Mercian kings? Possibly even Oliver Cromwell, even though, you know, he was a parliamentarian. But, I mean, you know, you seem to be against, you know, sort of the rule of blood that is not God, so you probably would have been a parliamentarian, wouldn't you?
Voldemort doesn't care.
Hermione remarked sadly, and she shook her head.
And he is gaining power. The freedom of Christians to practice our faith is disappearing by the day. Soon, it will be like it was in Rome.
Wait, what? You mean the Rome where they abandoned the original religion of the Romans and the emperor declared Christianity to be the proper religion? And sort of there were a lot of periods where people were forced to be Christian. Is that what? What are you, fucking high? Lovely ladylike tears began to roll down her delicate, terrified face. So he likes to see women cry. And I
don't like lions.
Okay. Well, get a Snickers then. How about that? Or a Mars bar.
It will be all right,
Harry reassured manfully. So he was full of man. This is getting worse by the minute.
We will just need to pray really, really hard. That's why we're here, after all.
Wink, wink.
You're so brave,
Hermione pronounced admiringly, and she wiped tears from her eyes. She flung her arms around Harry's neck.
Thank you for giving me courage.
That is deeply inappropriate. Harry patted her head before departing and entering his new home. It wasn't until the doors had closed behind him that he realized that he did not know where he was supposed to sleep. The tower consisted of an old stone staircase winding up the steep, sacred walls. Walls tend to be steep because literally they tend to be vertical. And there were doors leading to each bedroom off the stairway corridor. Harry felt lost for a moment, but a quick prayer showed him the way. As he collapsed into his bed, very tired of such an eventful day, he thought about the days that were coming. It was truly a good thing that the Lord had called him when he did. Actually, that was Hagrid. Fuck me, boy. Such good beer. One moment, I will clean out this glass and get a different beer. Well, it's not quite a beer. Sure, a lot of you will be excited to hear that my Slav drink is doing phenomenally. Just a quick palate cleanser. There it is. This right here is not actually really beer, it's Gösser Naturradler. Radler, or and in England as it is known as shandy, is usually beer mixed with lemonade. However, Gösser does this with lemon juice. And it comes from the can. It's pretty much the best Radler that I know. And it conserves the bitter hoppy taste of the beer while giving you the fresh dash of lemon. And it's not obnoxiously sweet, which I really love. It's the closest thing you can get to a real bitter shandy. In easily in Germany. Chapter 5, A New Friend. Hello, author's note.
Hey y'all, I'm very sorry this chapter a bit short than usual because just soon the little one get better, wouldn't you know it, there's certain right a fever. Will remind me life insurance Austin. I wasn't planning to post another chapter until things had settled down, but the hubby says the work of the Lord doesn't wait for whims of men. So, y'all can thank the Ephesians 9:11 for the speedy update. Oh, and on the note, some of you lovely readers have requested to write down the Bible verse after each chapter. Well, far be it from me not to spread the word of the Lord. Well, the question I've gotten in the original books, Harry Potter and friends frequently asked the question of authority. How do I feel about this? Well, it was quite a toughie, you asked me. I talked to my hubby about it, and we agreed that usually it's good to obey authority. When authority is acting contrary to the Lord, you should not take that authority. Acts 9:11. You just might see authority figures making bad decisions. Chapter 9, nobody perfect for the Lord, not even Dumbledore. But no matter how good the original books told you how Harry Potter has with a big bit of a crazy story. And it'll be different than the original books.
Yeah, no shit, it will be very different than the original books. I believe we have established this already.
And finally, I got a PM from lovely friend was a bit confused. So I cleared this up. I do not own the original books. Those belong to JKR.
Okay, I'll read this in clear English. And finally, I got a PM from a lovely friend who was a bit confused, so I'll just clear this up now. I do not own the original books, and those belong to JKR. For a moment there, I thought she meant I do not own the Harry Potter books. Now I realize that she thinks this is copyrighted. This is fan fiction. How are you confused as to what the concept of fan fiction is? Let's go. Harry Potter woke up drowsily in a comfy, fluffy mattress. He was in the mattress. It was only now that he had the energy to observe his surroundings. The room was small, but also everything a little boy needed. Oh, this is nice. They have privacy in this version of Hogwarts, so they can jack off in peace. That was the one thing that always irritated me about Hogwarts, that they had these communal rooms where they all had to sleep in. I used to have to share my room with 2 or 3 people when I was a kid, because I grew up in a boys' home. And let me tell you, it's very difficult to jack off. And that kind of context. The room was small, but also... Oh, wait, yeah. There was a big warm fireplace and the grey stone wall across him. A shelf of intelligent, age-appropriate books, the Holy Bible in the center of the shelf, of course. There was a simple wood dresser of respectable, school-appropriate attire. And, of course, a clean porcelain sink for washing up and brushing teeth and such. It was only then that our hero noticed that there was another bed in the room. Oh, fucking scratch all of that, literally. It was the same as his own bed, except this other bed had not been made. Also, this bed had its own Bible in it, and it looked different from the one on the shelf. And who was this new roommate of his? No, Harry. You are this kid's new roommate. This kid is not your new roommate. Understand the hierarchy. Harry looked behind him to see a small, pallid young boy with shockingly bright red hair kneeling with seeming piety as he prayed to a small statue of Baphomet. At this shocking sight, Harry felt a horror, but he quickly composed himself and declared bravely,
Hello, friend. My name is Harry Potter, and I take it we two are roommates. What's your name?
What am I going to give Ron? What kind of accent am I going to give Ron? Should I give him like what the politically correct Britons call an urban accent, even though he is the pastiest looking motherfucker anywhere? Chats, should I do that? Should I make him basically talk like a black kid? Mind you, I'm not very good at doing that kind of accent. Even though I do actually find it very, it's very pleasant to listen to. I know that Americans have a weird relationship with it, but I like it very much. Australia, that's a lot better. Fuck all of that. Fuck the Ebonics accent. Make him Australian.
Ronald Weasley,
The other boy responded friendlily. What? And reached out a hand to shake.
welcome to Hogwarts. I'm a Christian too.
This is... Australian sometimes goes a bit into Cockney, innit?
Really?
Harry exclaimed delightedly and clasped his hands together.
This is joyous news.
What did you expect?
Ronald smiled deviously, and Harry remembered that he had just seen this boy praying to a statue, and he wondered why that would be. But he was new to this whole Christianity thing, and maybe that was okay. Still, it didn't feel quite right. He bravely resolved to bring it up with Dumbledore.
Would you come to me?
Australian's a difficult accent to get into.
Would you come to me come with me to breakfast?
Ronald queried politely as he got up from the statue he had been kneeling in front of.
They have delicious food. They have delicious food here in the Great Hall.
Would I ever?
Harry cried delightedly, and he bolted out of bed and brushed his teeth and washed his face. This little one certainly had a healthy appetite. In a jiffy, Harry and his new friend had joined the stream of young lads on the steep, winding stairs heading to breakfast. They could smell the aroma of breakfast from the Great Hall. What is the aroma of breakfast? You do realize that breakfast can include a lot of things. And it wafted right into their noses. Where else would it... Never mind. Before they knew it, they were all sitting in the Great Hall.
Come sit with me and my
No, this is now Cockney. Fuck. What's my... Australia.
Come sit with me and my family,
Ronald offered eagerly. And he motioned frantically toward a table packed full of people with hair just as red as his.
Come on. I can't wait for them to see that I made a new friend.
No, he's your roommate. If you have to listen, if you need your best friend to be a roommate, you're probably not a very good person to be around. Harry followed Donald. Listen. Fuck. I'm the best Christian. Donald J. Weasley. Fuck. Not very good at impressions. Harry followed Ronald with the obedience of one who does not have many friends in a new situation. Oh, what a difficult circumstance that can be, and how many believers have been led astray by those situations.
Oi, mates!
Ronald screeched joyously as he pulled Harry toward the table of his family.
This is Harry Potter, and he's my new roommate. Hello, Harry,
the Weasleys chorused in unison.
Welcome to Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles.
Hello?
Harry stammered shyly. Something about this group made him nervous. Don't you dare make the fucking Weasleys into something evil.
Nice to meet you.
He sat down at their table. He could smell a delicious breakfast. But where was the food? No sooner had the thought crossed his mind when the Reverend Dumbledore came into the Great Hall stage and dropped down to his knees and raised his hands skyward and screamed, "Dear Lord, please provide these devout young ones with 3 strips of bacon or links of sausage each, whatever you choose, whatever's more convenient with you at the given time. For the ladies, a bowl of hearty oatmeal flavored with cinnamon and apple chunks. You could, maybe add some drops of that special stuff that you do give me sometimes. 2 poached eggs all the way through, home fries seasoned with garlic. Holy shit, that's actually a very good idea. I should try that sometimes. It's like fucking, I don't know, would sweet potato go well with the... It's difficult. Sweet potato can add a lot to a lot of dishes, but I found that it's surprisingly difficult to pair. It goes very well with the sort of smoky umami of barbecue sauce, but the sort of heat and umami. I don't know. I don't know if sweet potato fries go very well with heat. To be honest, and I don't really like regular potato fries, but yeah, I might have to try that.
A glass each of orange juice and milk.
Please separate glasses.
And dishes up to the task.
Harry was once again amazed to see the food appear in front of him. The food looked and smelled amazing. He suspected good old Minerva had something to do with this delicious spread. No, it was God! But before he dug into the food, he remembered that he had something to discuss with the Reverend. Harry fought his nervousness, and he ran after Dumbledore as he hopped dexterously off the stage. Holy shit.
Excuse me?
The young believer cried innocently as he ran after the Reverend as fast as his little legs could carry him.
Excuse me, Reverend?
No, now I'm making him into Hermione.
What is it, son?
The Reverend reiterated kindly. What? He was dressed respectably in a sturdy, manly jeans and red, white, and blue plaid shirt, on which a few virile tresses were visible, and a pair of admirable brown cowboy boots.
Are you settling in all right? Forgive my outfit. I was at a cosplay event for, American culture.
He was at a gay sex party.
I sure am,
Harry retorted graciously.
How are things with your family?
Very well,
replied Dumbledore knowledgeably, and he was impressed with the little one's manners.
Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well,
Harry began uncomfortably, and he scuffed his blue sneakered foot against the polished wood floor of the great hall.
I woke up this morning and saw my roommate praying to a statue. Is that really an okay thing to do?
Was it a statue of Jesus?
That's a real toughie. That's a British term that British people use.
Dumbledore answered ponderously.
Well, I don't worship idols. It is, in fact, a very unchristian thing to do. But you see, here at Hogwarts, we divide ourselves into sorting hats.
No. What? That's not how that works.
After breakfast, all the little ones will choose their hats. Each of the different hats have different beliefs. But we all love the Lord, and what more in common do you need?
Hold up, what? What? This is a complete breakaway from... Okay.
That does sound true to me.
Harry pondered sensitively. But can you switch your religion every day, or what is the deal here?
But is it really? It seems that if we all love the Lord, we don't need to divide ourselves. Are the divisions between different hats really so significant as to merit dividing Christianity? What are these divisions?
Oh yes, please open this can of worms.
Well, they are somewhat significant, Dumbledore allowed tentatively. For instance, I am a Gryffindor hat. We believe everything in the Bible and only the Bible.
So everything that isn't in the Bible you just don't believe. Okay.
That red-headed roommate of yours is a Slytherin hat.
Have intercourse with yourself.
And Slytherins worship statues?
Harry queried innocently. The Reverend nodded gravely.
Then how are they Christian?
Harry questioned skeptically. Yeah, I don't think there's much skepticism here.
What about Exodus 9:11? That's a 10 Commandment.
Well, they have different commandments, Dumbledore explained well-meaningly. They love the Lord. That is all we need.
Oh, okay. I want to get sorted into the house that's like the fucking Rastafarian house then.
But do they really love the Lord?
Harry posited timidly.
If they do, why do they worship statues?
Dark days are coming, Dumbledore replied earnestly. We need to be inclusive. If there were only Gryffindor hats at Hogwarts, then there would not be many people left.
I see.
Harry conceded uncertainly as he walked back to Ronald McDonald's overcrowded table. He was getting nervous about this hat business, but he supposed he did have to trust Dumbledore. After all, grown-ups know best, right? Oof! Let me try to whip out my preacher voice. Ephesians 5:22 minus 24. What? Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife. No, now I'm getting to Hitler. Even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be their own husbands in everything. Then Acts 5:29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men. And then Exodus, also 9:11. I was going to say 9/11 from now on because I have dyscalculia and I can't. Shut the fuck up, Avira Phantom VPN. I already have a VPN. Perish. Because I have dyscalculia and I can't work with numbers at all. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. No, that's not. I'm British. Or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above. No, I'm not good at this. Fuck the Bible verses, man. Just have hardcore, full frontal, raw dog sex with them. The Bible verses. Chapter 6, Sorting Hats. Author's note.
Hello, y'all. I apologize, people who probably much I've been able to reply to, but things have been for persons. Mama's work's never done. But it takes your love afraid to fashion about little ones. Looks like sick down new moon here after all. And it was just a flu. It was a rough few days, but now little person's in tip-top shape. Boo!
Harry Potter walked back to the table of redheads. Yep. It was only now that he noticed that they were all wearing black and green baseball caps with snakes on them. Wow, what a thing to overlook! Especially considering that green contrasts quite well with red. Tentatively, Harry sat down next to Ronald, who was not wearing a hat, since he, like Harry, was new.
So,
Harry began nervously, and he bit into a thick, juicy slice of perfectly fried bacon.
What sorting hat do you think you will choose?
Australia. I'll definitely choose Slytherin,
Ronald declared confidently, and he began to eat his oatmeal with his hands.
Me whole family's Slytherins.
He gestured to the countless redheads sitting at the it's just millions of red. This is like an MC Escher painting. The fucking the table is just folded in on itself, and if you look down at it, you will see an infinite stream of redheads all wearing Slytherin caps. And they all turned to Harry and smiled and waved like a kaleidoscope.
You should become a Slytherin too, mate. We could do it together.
Okay. Harry uttered ponderously, and he took a bite of eggs.
Why don't you tell me what the Slytherins believe?
Sure, mate,
Ronald replied ecstatically, and he kept eating his oatmeal.
Well, first of all, we believe in the Bible.
That is wonderful.
Harry reacted happily, and he took a sip of orange juice.
I do as well. Perhaps I could be Slytherin after all.
But why? That's not all, Ronald continued excitedly, and washed his oatmeal down with milk.
Gryffindor hats believe the Bible too, but Slytherins have even more. We have a book full of guidelines on how to be a good person, and a whole panel of Slytherin hats tell us what to do.
What are they, Catholic? Harry furrowed his innocent, childish brow, and he took another bite of oatmeal, and he questioned confusedly.
Why do you need all that if you have the Bible?
I don't know, fuck. Now I'm losing his accent. Ronald guffawed, and he shoveled even more oatmeal into his mouth, and he replied,
Why have only one Bible when you can have more? Why, that would be like only praying to God.
What? Harry gasped in horror as he bit into more bacon.
Of course I pray only to God. Who else would I pray to?
What about Mary?
Ronald posited angrily around a mouthful of oatmeal.
You have to at least worship her.
You mean the mummy of our Lord?
Harry demanded in scandal, and he chewed his bacon.
I don't worship her.
Well, you should.
Well then, God hates you. Sorry, cunt. God fucking hates you. You're gonna burn in hell, you little bitch.
Ron stated simply, and pieces of bacon flew out of his mouth as he did so. I thought he was eating oatmeal. Please have some consistency. Harry was tentative, since he was new to this whole Christianity thing, but he did not think God would hate him for not worshipping his mummy. On the contrary, he had a hunch that God wanted people to only worship him, because God was a vain little cunt. Fuck, there's a new voice here, and I don't know what accent to give it, because I don't know who this is yet. Okay, let's pick a new accent. Let's make her maybe into like a Jersey. Fuck, but it's a girl. I think that my male Jersey's better. So fuck. See, if I give her a Cockney accent, my Cockney's not particularly good, and it would bleed over into the Australian, and my fucking brain would get confused as shit. Canadian accent, I'm not good in. Oh, holy shit, it's the Beardbarian. Hey, my dude, what? This is cool. Beardbarian, a great channel. You should definitely all subscribe to him. He's a really cool dude. Canadian accent. I would maybe try to do a very like a totally overdrawn Canadian accent.
Don't listen to him, eh?
No, she's Irish now. No, fucking Hagrid is already Irish. Don't listen to him, eh? Commented a drowsy voice self-righteously from behind Harry. Harry turned around and he saw a girl about his own age. Her pale yellow hair was tied into braids, and she wore a tie-dye shirt and faded jeans and flowers in her hair. Peace signs and donkey patches were soon all over her clothes. What? You should not become a Slytherin hat, eh? The girl continued. This is, by the way, my extent of the Canadian accent. Just adding A behind everything. The girl concluded confidently, and she was eating what looked like it was supposed to be bacon, but it did not smell or taste like bacon. It missed that smoky, meaty taste that bacon is supposed to have. Instead, it tasted like vegetables blended together and dyed red. Yuck! Harry would have real bacon over that any day of the week. They are far too strict, eh? Harry hummed skeptically. He was not sure about this whole Slytherin business. But the word strict was not what came to mind. Kyle Epstein is $2. The Ken Ham impression is spot on. I was in my biology class. I remember we had a textbook that actually my biology teacher co-wrote, and there was a section in there about creationism, because I was like in the advanced course for biology. I did end up studying biology for a couple semesters, and I was just skimming through the textbook in the middle of class, and I just saw a picture of Ken Ham. And this might have been just shortly before or after the debate he had with fucking Bill Nye the Gender guy. And fucking the teacher was just saying something, and I just went, "Can he?" Like a fucking autist. And he turned around, and I was like, "Holy shit! I just said that out loud." But yeah, apparently he also knew Ken Ham, and then we had like a 10-minute discussion about how much we hate Ken Ham. So yeah, let's get back into this. You should become a Hufflepuff hat, hey? The girl instructed arrogantly and continued to nibble at her breakfast. That's what I'm going to do, eh? So is this Luna Lovegood, or is this not her?
What do Hufflepuff hats believe in?
Harry pondered aloud, and he took a bite of his real bacon. Oh, how he wanted to find the true hats. Hufflepuff hats believe in the Bible, but only some of it, eh? Luna explained casually, and she was still feeding on that stuff, like a cow. We don't believe in the stuff against fornication and drinking and socialism, but we really like Matthew 9:11, and that's about it, eh? So, I want to join your sect then. We're really fun, and we seem really nice and really tolerant, as long as you agree with us, eh? I love how she literally strawmans her own ideology. Jesus fuck. That was when a derisive laugh echoed through the cafeteria. A smug-looking young man about Harry's age with slicked back hair, even paler blonde than Luna's, and wearing a sweater vest and khakis, strolled languidly down between the rows of tables. Okay, this is Draco. What are we going to give Draco? We already have too much sort of Oxford received pronunciation. Or should we make Draco like a really racist caricature of a Mexican? Let's do it. Please ignore the fool, Draco drawled smugly. Luna thinks she can have the career even though she's a woman, and women are stupid. This is not a very good one, but Harry gaped at this horrible person. What a mean thing to say.
Women shouldn't not have careers because women are stupid.
What? Harry shouted indignantly.
Women are not stupid at all. Women should not have careers because women are nurturing and loving, and their gifts serve them best in the home.
Draco gasped tentatively. You are diluting the truth, eh? Women are beneath men. Well, hold the phone. Now he says, no, I'm not. Harry fired back bravely. So is Harry a woman now? This is actually stressing me out. What the fuck? My Tourette's is acting up. Jesus Christ.
You are twisting the truth so you can be mean with it. Women are not beneath men. Men and women are just different.
Luna smiled at him gratefully. Draco is clearly fumbling for ground here. There is not much ground to stand on when you are being hateful. But he finally came up. Well, at least I don't eat with Slytherin hat. I hate Slytherin. No, he's Chinese now. At least I don't eat with Slytherin hat. I hate Slytherin. Fuck. Wait, how do I pronounce Slytherin with a terrible Chinese? I just have to switch the L's and the R's. So it's Slytherin. I hate Slytherin. Ronald began to cry to his oatmeal. Why did you switch all of the houses though? That's fucking dumb.
I don't hate Slytherin hats,
Harry declared boldly.
I think they should become Gryffindor hats, but that is because I love them. Besides, the Lord ate with sinners all the time.
Thank you, Harry, mate, Ronald whispered tearfully. Well. Now he's Mexican again. Well, you should just become a Ravenclaw like me. Draco sputtered blusteringly. We really are the best hat. No, fuck, now he's Chinese again. What the fuck? Why is my bullshit... why is my bullshit fucking Mexican accent so close to my bullshit Chinese accent? I don't understand. By the way, in case anyone wonders, I'm a Ravenclaw in the official Harry Potter lore. What? I've been told by many experts on Harry Potter, including my beloved girlfriend, that I am a Ravenclaw. So much so that I am basically, if someone asked her, what is a Ravenclaw, she would just point to me as the textbook definition of a Ravenclaw. You're not drunk enough, Cree. I'm not going to get much drunker. Broke your brain's accent with the Canadian accent, bro. you did, Beardy. You did.
I think you mean we really are the most hateful hat.
Harry collected cleverly like a cunt. And then he jumped up onto the table and he got down on his knees and he raised his hands to the ceiling of the Great Hall and he bellowed,
Dear Lord, I have made my decision. I am a Gryffindor.
No, now he's Australian.
I'm a Gryffindor hat.
Yeah. Let's go to the next chapter. Chapter 7. Wheat and Chaff. Author's note.
Hello, y'all. Boo, this chapter too long right now. I thought it would better than the jury down here for Parson some days. I think I'll never get caught up. But now that little ones are sound asleep, I'm finally getting around to putting finishing touches on this chapter. I apologize for the delay. Now, there have been quite a few comments coming on, but I thought I'd make a time for it to address food them, since I don't have time to reply individually. First of all, do all the mommies who express appreciation for a little story of mine. Thank you. You support keeps me writing. Remember, though, for the glory is not mine, it is the work of the greater cause of the Lord. And the people who call me names, Bible-believing Christians, is like a big, ugly monster drives you under the bridge. Want everyone to do the right thing under heaven makes so-called bigot. Well, that is just my word for you. And finally, to the people saying I'm spreading hate, take a look at the comments posted here. Not saying I'm a terrible writer, terrible monster, terrible mother, whose children will hate her one day. Who's her spreading hate here, huh? Because I don't think it's me.
Okay. The Great Hall burst into applause as a red and yellow baseball cap with a lion embroidered onto the front appeared on Harry's head. Why the fuck does it have to be a fucking baseball cap? Have you read Methods of Rationality? It's good. I've never even heard of it. But thank you for the additional $2, Kyle. He hopped deftly off the table and landed on his little feet. He could feel the love of the Lord surging through him, and he knew that he made the right decision. He was even more sure of his decision when Hermione dashed across the cafeteria to give him a big, spontaneous hug. This is where you cue the saxophone music. A Finnish accent, that's a very good idea. God damn it, Boomhauer, what? Thank you. No, Neo, come on, I told you to stop. She too was sporting a red and yellow baseball cap, although her cap had a kitten on it instead of a lion. That's the accent I'm going to give Draco. He's going to be Finnish.
I'm so happy, Harry,
she cried gladly, delicate tears streaming down her face, and we know he is into that.
When I saw you eating with that family, I was so scared. I thought you might become a Slytherin. Never worry about that,
Harry declared boldly and bravely.
I am a Gryffindor, now and forever.
No, he's Australian now again. Fuck.
Well chosen,
Dumbledore declared approvingly as he took a long, energetic strides through the crowded, noisy room.
Welcome to the Gryffindor hat, Harry.
Harry beamed happily. Truly, he had been blessed. As he sat down to finish his breakfast, and he was still glowing from joy. He sat back next to Ronald.
Or will you still be me friend even though you are a different hat?
Ronald asked timidly.
Of course,
Harry declared generously, and he began to eat his egg. He had expected his eggs to be cold by now, what with all the hullabaloo. But lo and behold, they were still piping hot, because God does not give a shit about thermodynamics. I would not pretend that what Ronald believed about worshipping the dead. Wait, what? But he could still offer, of course, offer the young boy some friendship in the spirit of Matthew 9:11.
Thank you, Harry,
Ronald uttered happily. He may have been sporting a green and black hat with a snake on it, which testifies to his Slytherin beliefs. Yeah, we know. But he could recognize Harry's pure-hearted godliness, generosity, humility, and innocent goodness. He looked around at his siblings, all of them wearing hats identical to his, and he wondered why none of them were like that.
Attention, students!
Reverend Dumbledore announced authoritatively as he hopped onto the stage and held the microphone in his mouth. Jesus Christ. Don't Finnish accents just sound like Russian accents, though? Not at all. Okay, here's the difference.
Don't Finnish accents just sound like Russian accents, though?
And alternatively,
don't Finnish accents just sound like Russian accents, though?
No, that's not a very good Finnish accent. Fuck this. The magic is that the Finns pronounce every single letter. Because that's how their language works. I always just try to fucking imitate the guy from Hydraulic Press Channel. Actually, Hydraulic Press Channel is a very good thing to get into the... Don't Finnish accents just sound like Russian accents, though. Yeah, Hydraulic Press Channel is very good to get into the spirit of Finnish. Okay, let's get on with it.
Congratulations on picking your hats,
He continued kindly.
I'm sure you have all chosen wisely.
Harry hummed to himself. He knew that the Reverend meant well, but was it really doing the members of the other hats much good to tell them that everything was the same when it wasn't? Wouldn't they all be happier if they knew to read the Bible and take it seriously? You absolute bigot. Dumbledore thought he was making everyone happy, and perhaps he was in the short run, but in the long run, Harry worried that he was doing more harm than good. Well, Harry, you're a kid and you should obey authority, you little shit. Harry did not say anything because he was new to the flock and didn't feel confident in his connection with the Lord. He literally opened doors for you. But sometimes it takes newcomers to point out the flaws we don't see in our communities. Yep, that is gonna work. The Reverend clapped his hands against each other once, and then he spoke enthusiastically.
Now you will all be sharing most of your classes with other members of your hat, so it would be good for you to get to know them now. Ravenclaw hats, please gather around Mr. Moody. Hufflepuff hats, please gather around Mr. Sprout.
What, Mr. Sprout? It's Mrs. Professor Pomona Sprout, okay?
Slytherin hats, please gather around Mr. Finnegan.
Seamus Finnegan was a student.
And Gryffindor hats, please gather around Mr.
Snape? What? I'm sorry, is Snape the house teacher of Gryffindor? There's a lot of just changes where I don't know why they are, even. Now, at the beginning of the breakfast meal, Harry had noticed a tall, mysterious-looking man with long dark hair and gowned enigmatic features. If he had noticed him at the beginning of breakfast, maybe you should have fucking told me. It was dressed stylishly in a crisp black suit, and his tie made a shock of red in the otherwise totally black outfit. He is Gothic. The dark hair on his pale chest was neatly trimmed, but still noticeably thick. What? Hold on, what? He's wearing a tie, but you can still, and a suit, but you can still see his chest hair. So either he's wearing it like this, or he's not wearing a shirt, and he's just wearing the suit jacket and the tie. What? Okay. It was now that he noticed that on the table that this man was sitting at was a placard that said on it, Mr. Snape. Harry followed the other brave young children wearing Gryffindor hats. Okay. So this is chapter 7 of 14. We've been on for 1.5 hours. I don't think I can go on for another 1.5 hours. I'm pretty this is exhausting. So I'll tell you something. We will make a break here. Maybe I'll take some audience questions. If you guys have a few questions, do send them in. I'm going to go to the toilet real quick. We'll talk a little bit, and then we will read the rest of the whole thing next time. Fucking hell, it actually smells like burnt bread in here. The new illusionist, is your chair comfortable? I am looking to buy a new one. Yes, this is just the standard IKEA. Thank you for the $5 also. The standard IKEA desk chair. It's pretty good. I like it. Okay. I'm just imagining the last chapter. The FBI bursts in and Voldemort is revealed to be a police informant. Okay. Illusionist, are you made of money? I think he is, yeah. Well, seeing as none of you seem to have any questions, I appreciate all of you tuning in. I'll probably do the next one fairly soon, like next week maybe. And yeah, essentially, basically, I'm gonna go into the thing. And say thank you very much for watching. Have a fantastic day. And see you around, cunts. Yes, I do want to end the stream, YouTube.